brooklynblues.org. The number's right. Now, this brother, you want to talk about New York blues? We are sitting with New York blues right here. And I don't even care if I'm singing right now. It doesn't even matter.
Well, you're very gracious.
Well, no, look, man, my wife, first of all, let me just say, we're sitting with Michael Hill. Okay, let me just say that before I get into the story. All right, because my wife and I tried to get somewhere in Jersey to see you play at this church, like this church resort for a festival. And I took what I thought was a shortcut, but everything was blocked off because of construction.
Right.
So then we had to take the local route to Crown Heights, and then we tried to get to the Holland Tunnel, and that was backed up all the way to Bowery.
Wow.
By the time we found this place, because of course we had to find it.
Right.
It started raining. We got out the car, got in the church, and everybody was shaking hands and hugging. I was like, God dang.
Yeah. I remember that, man.
Yes,
You guys came out, yeah.
We were trying to get there, man.
Oh, well, appreciate that.
But because of a good brother, Pete Cummins, he told me that you were going to be at Terror Blues. And I went down there to meet Pete and his wife, and you did a rendition of Robert Johnson on an electric guitar that I have not yet forgotten and have never tried to play because I didn't want to tear it up.
Oh, man. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So let's talk about your story before we get into all the cultural and traditional stuff, because you are you still, or were you at one time on Alligator Records?
We were on Alligator Records for 3 albums, our first 3 with the Blues Mob. It's a lot of fun. I'm still friends with Bruce Aglauer.
Wow.
And, Alligator is a great label. I mean, as far as independent labels go, it was just really a special place.
I can imagine. How did that come about?
You know, there's a story with that because there was an article in Guitar Player Magazine by a guy, I forgot his name, but he was a guy who brought, he was a producer down there and a college professor, and a white guy, and he wrote an article about how white people could only be imitators in terms of the blues, and that it was black music, and then. You know, in response to that, a bunch of people wrote in letters. I mean, some saying stuff like, well, the blues is not black music. It's big leg women. It's this, that, and the other. And so I wrote a letter saying, well, you know, I mean, I believe that music belongs to whomever loves it, you know, but the music comes out of the black experience. Clearly, there's no mistaking that. And black people have a relationship to the blues that is singular. And they wanted to print that as a guest editorial. I was just writing a letter, and so they did. And one of the editors got in touch, and he had heard about me from Vernon Reed, and one thing led to another, and he recommended us to Bruce Aglauer.
Wow.
And that's only the second time he ever recommended somebody to Bruce.
Wow.
And the first time was Dave Holt from Australia, slide player, and he got signed. And so we sent Bruce a demo that we had done with my larger band, with my sisters and brothers, Bluesland, and he heard, you know, good things, but he wasn't, you know, that didn't completely knock him out. Well, down the line, Brooklyn Lager used to have a band search, a contest at Brooklyn, at Celebrate Brooklyn every year, and we, you know, battles of the band are kind of, you know,
right.
But one year they were doing blues. We said, let's do it. We'll have some fun. We wound up winning it, and one of the prizes was studio time to record something for the radio. But one of the engineers had some spec time coming. We did some Bluesland stuff, and then we did some Blues Mob stuff because I had been gigging around town with a smaller unit doing classic blues as well as our originals. And basically we did a demo with Brian. His name was Brian Young, good friend. Sent that to Bruce Aglauer, and basically we got signed to Alligator.
Wow. You hear that?
So, you know, one thing leading to another. Yeah, yes.
Wow. So, okay, so now you had a blues version of Sly and the Family Stone. Pretty much, in terms of you were in a band prior to that moment, going to Alligator Records and winning that competition.
The band search,
right. You were in a band with your family. Your
Absolutely,
siblings?
yeah. My two sisters and my brother. My brother Kevin, my sisters Kathy and Wynette.
Wow.
We started the band in '73.
Wow.
And Kevin was 14, Kathy was 15, Wynette was 20. I was 21. And our parents used to come to the shows. They were very incredibly supportive because Kathy and Kevin were underage.
Right.
And in those days, there were live music clubs in the neighborhood, in the Bronx and in Harlem and so forth. And we also played the dance halls, for social clubs. So I was extremely fortunate.
Yeah, I mean that was a very great time for music, and to speak to a lot of cats that came through New York, it was a great time for New York music as well. How was the New York blues scene in your journey?
Well, I didn't really get involved in the blues scene until a little bit later, and that we were playing R&B and funk and and all of that, and then I really started writing a little bit later after I was playing with Sekou Sundiata, and I joined that band, and great band, Vernon Reed, J.T. Lewis, Tony Bridges, and doing Sekou's music. Doug Booth was the musical director when I was invited to join that, and I was also playing with a band called Fitz and the New York Band, doing some rock and roll stuff. And for a long time, I had been playing cover tunes a lot, even though I wrote some. And it was a lot of people were saying, you should start a blues band, around that time. Because when we do a blues thing, people seem to. And so I asked, well, you going to join it? And they said, yeah. So it was my brother Kevin on bass, Tony Lewis on drums. And, Doug Booth played keys, but Fred McFarlane played keyboards with us. Also, they altered. And so I started writing songs specifically with blues in mind, but it always had other flavors. But that's how I got involved in playing like Pats and Chelsea and playing, because we were playing like CBGBs and Bitter End.
Which was a big place, a big
serious rock underground. But with the Blues Mob, we played blues clubs where you actually made some money, like $50 or whatever. And we started playing Terra Blues in 90 or 91 when they first opened. And that's actually where Bruce Iglauer came to see us.
Wow.
So, yeah, when we talked, he said, where are you playing? I want to come see you. And, the music business, he said, well, yeah, sure, okay.
Right, but everybody said, I'm going to come see you.
There we are at Terra Blues. He flew in from Chicago and came to the gig, And
that's serious business.
Yes.
So it was a gradual, and for the sake of argument, I'll ask you, all pretty much American music comes from the blues or the blues predecessors, yes?
Yeah.
So
that's
it was
my feeling.
It was kind of a natural progression for you.
Yeah, well, I started playing guitar because of Jimi Hendrix, and
there we go.
And I saw him 5 times, and I was seeing people in clubs. My friends in high school and we used to argue about who's better, Clapton or Hendrix, all of this. And all of those guys, Mike Bloomfield, they always talked about B.B. King, Albert King, Freddie, Buddy Guy, all of their heroes.
Right.
So we used to see those guys too at clubs. And Bill Graham at the Fillmore East, he would have a double bill because we were into rock, but he'd have the Jefferson Airplane and Albert King. So we got exposed to all the blues guys too. And even though blues was always my most direct connection to the guitar, with my band, with my brother and sisters, we were playing R&B and popular music at the time.
Right.
We would go get the WWRL Soul 16 chart, learn some songs, put the needle back, and then play these gigs.
Wow.
But blues, we'd always slip into blues, here and there. And then and gradually, the way things evolved, even though the band with my brother and my sisters, Bluesland, was my heart, the blues wound up, that was where we wound up getting signed, and the thing that really connected the most